Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald, Barrington, Robinson, and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours a day. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide. I also want to thank our very talented technical staff. And I want to encourage our listeners to please tune in. And if you're in the areas where our shows are broadcast, please share them with your friends and neighbors. And I want to welcome our very talented co-host, Miss Jackie Williams.
Hello, everyone.
Dr. Denise Smith-Allen.
Hello. How's it going, Ron?
And Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron.
Right. Let's talk about immigration policy, sanctuary cities. Many cities across our nation have refused orders by U.S. Attorney Sessions to ignore his order to report all illegal migrants. Sanctuary cities are those cities that permits residents by illegals to help them avoid deportation. Trump has threatened to withhold billions in state grants. Many states have brought lawsuits against Sessions' orders. I think this is horrible. If there's 11 million illegals and you're trying to deport 11 million folks, it's not going to happen. Okay? And when you deport all of these people, or even some of them, or a lot of them, I should say, the people that depend on these folks, all right, to harvest their crops and work their computers and a whole host of other things, work in their factories, are going to be up in arms, and it's not going to work. Okay, we need these folks because for whatever reasons, a lot of Americans are lazy. They don't want to do the grunt work, and it's unfortunate. Mr. Hatter, what is your thoughts?
Well, I was hoping to hear from some of the more erudite people here, like Denise and others here around the table, Jackie. But I think the aim of the Trump administration is to deport aliens who are illegal and criminals. We know we need those people.
That was his theme from the beginning, okay? Now he's snatching people out of hospitals, factories, okay, the fields, and mothers with children, okay, and a whole host of other things.
But
down in the South, those, for a better word, detention camps are full of folk.
But you forgot the premise. The Americans are not against immigrants. They're against people who commit crimes in this country.
I just said...
Hang on. Now, you got to get the full essence of the story. Nobody wants a killer next to him.
We're not talking about all that.
We're talking about people who have been accused of crimes and adjudicated.
I don't have an argument with that. I'm talking about people that haven't had so much as a jaywalking ticket, all right, are being deported.
I think what has happened, ICE, it has been given a broad brush, or I'll say a wide net, in order to bring in people who are undocumented. I don't necessarily like the term illegals and those kinds of terms that are kind of negative in their connotation. But these are undocumented people who have come to this country probably because of lack of resources and on and on. They come here and they set up, and they came because of the American dream. They have families now. They are workers. And we know that there is an element, probably about 1% or less, that are people who have come in and created, some criminal activity. And those persons, I know, was the intent to be targeted. But as has already been said, we have people who are being pulled away from their families, people who have children, who are grandparents, people who have worked hard in this country and who pay their dues. And then we have these students who are here, and now their lives are being disrupted. So there's all this chaos and confusion and anger and hurt And we have to figure out a way in which we can change that, because the way it is right now, all we're doing is adding, like gasoline to a fire.
But that may be your perception. But the law is the law. And the intent of the law is supposed to be followed.
The intent was followed, but now the zealousness of it now is far reaching.
And that may be the case.
It is the case.
And so because of that, but hear me, Henry, because of that, like I said, each one of these cases should be looked at individually. And based on merit. Okay, you just can't start rounding up people based on their nationality. We already been there.
That's what American people want to do. They want to do exactly what you said. Get those who follow the profile of the people who we think that we ought to deport. We don't want to deport innocent people.
But that's what's happening.
But that's what we're doing. And you know why we're doing it?
I have relatives just over in Windsor, all right, that have been coming to the United States all their lives. Now they can't even come over here because of this rule.
Yeah,
all right.
That rule is only temporary.
No, but the point is, again,
it's destroyed people's jobs. A couple of them are nurses in hospitals in Michigan. They can't even go to work.
I imagine
your president again did not have a plan, and in his campaign
a plan. He does have a plan.
No, you have to have a plan of attack.
You have to out of here in 24 hours.
No, you have to look a plan all the way through. You can't. That's what little children do. Little children have a plan to go play, and that's all they have. You have to see it past step one, and this is what they're missing. Step 2, 3, and 4, which is just because I'm undocumented doesn't mean that I'm a threat to society.
But you have no business here. This is a sanctioned country.
Okay, but if I'm here,
and guess what? If we went back from intruders and outsiders, every country has that.
Right, and President President Trump's wife was one.
Okay.
Send her ass back to where she came from.
We let her
she's
stay.
No longer an undocumented.
Well, she was Come on now, this is my point. If she never came over here undocumented, he would have never met her.
I don't know. You
she
guys
should go back too.
Projecting and stuff like that because you don't like the president.
No, I'm just saying you can't just have a blanket rule because you're giving them too much.
But that rule has been here since 1789.
But we have a 60. Did you know it's 60% increase of people that have been deported, and they're not talking about the detention camps. They have them everywhere, and they said they are poor conditions because he did not think this through. So these things.
But Americans have been thinking that through for years.
We've never done it.
Well, we had to start someplace.
But you should have had a plan. That's my
point. We had internment camps when we had the Asian population that was being victimized at that period of time.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't imagine that people have been taking care of those places and making them safe, sound, and sanitary. I don't believe that.
Right.
Okay, so now you have all these folks that are being rounded up and living in deplorable conditions. And on top of, like I said, have already established themselves having good lives. Because I'm not talking about that 1% or less that is of the criminal element. I'm talking about people who are established here. And those people should have an opportunity to be seen on an individual basis to find out the backstory and get them legal.
Plus, I've been getting reports that they're putting folks in some of these abandoned prisons here in the state of Michigan, okay, and military bases.
See, I don't know that.
All right. I mean, I hope it's not true,
but
I wouldn't be surprised.
There has to be evidence of all this stuff.
Okay, sometimes you can't always have evidence.
Cannot deal with.
All right, you have to go on gut.
You have to be autocratic. Right?
All right, you have to go on gut. Everything is not on evidence all the time.
Here's where we are. We're on the same page. I believe that the president, for people who create crimes, this is what we need to talk about. We need to focus on that. If we can agree on that, we could build the next level.
Nobody's disagreeing that the people that have that have cases on them and they're illegal. That's not the argument.
Everybody's on the same page.
But Ron,
we're on the same page.
You're exactly right. We need
I'm talking about all of the misery that this guy has created. It's all this bullying and lies and innuendos and terror.
And you know what they said increase as well is enrollment into ISIS, because ISIS is taking these people who are hurt by what we're doing to them, and they're telling them, see, this is why we don't like.
And we can't stop that either.
It's not a matter of not stopping it. It's a matter of us not creating situations for them to prosper.
And innocent people get killed because of this foolishness.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not sure about all of that, but I do think that we know where we need to go with this. We need to take care of the intent of the proposal by the president. Remove all of those people who are criminals.
It ain't gonna happen.
And hang on, that's what you say. If you took 10% of 10 million, that's 1 million.
It's not going to happen.
But let's say that, and as Denise has said, we need to extract these people by case.
Right.
It's
what's wrong with that? But to group everybody in and say, well, we're bleeding hearts over all the people who Trump says he's throwing out. We need to have a conversation. The only way that we're going to sort this out is with a conversation with the president and his men, and to show evidence why we support his position. But we need to look at this case by case. The people in this country will listen to your logic. The press will listen to your logic. And others will listen to your logic. But you got to go at it logically, because both sides may have issues that American people cannot live with. And I believe, I'll take this for example. Immigrants create 35% of all new jobs in this country. Immigrants. Did you see that in the paper? It's been going on for years.
I haven't seen it in
we
the paper,
need
but I've read
the
it.
immigrants because they bring new blood into the country. They bring new energy and imagination. We need them. And I don't want people to think that I'm against immigrants, because immigrants are very valuable to the country. But we also need to extricate those in the president's plan.
And the immigrants, as you say, are also a large voting bloc. All right, and Republicans don't want that to happen.
It's
all
okay.
Right?
We will get exactly that.
So
the
there's
country
other
will go on.
there's other plots behind.
Yeah, but the country will go on.
Okay?
We've talked this a long time about who benefits from it. Immigrants are smart too.
Sure they are.
Sure, they know where they will get the most benefits from. Republicans and Democrats. Sometimes they're both the ways. They believe in the United States when many of us have doubts. So I said, bring them on in.
Well, again, a lot of people who came to this country came for the idea of the American dream.
Yes.
You know, a land of opportunity. All you have to do is do the hard work.
And I still believe in that.
And yes, and that is still very much alive. However, with what we're dealing with now with this new administration, we're turning people away, we're kicking people out, we're doing so much damage that I think in the long haul, we've got a couple of generations that are going to be affected by this, and this is not good. We've got to be able to counter what's going on here and make it.
Well, Denise, with your kind of mindset, we can do that. We can do that. With the mindset around this table, we can do that. Right? We can find the buttons to push to get to the president and the governors, people who make public policy in this country, and say to them deliberately and directly that we want review of how you plan to extricate 1 million immigrants. We don't want, we see it as a bad move to move everybody, because many are settled into their positions, they have families, they contribute to the country, they pay taxes. And
what are the ones that come in? Is it the green card they get where they can come and work here?
Yeah.
Okay, now President Trump has immigrants come and work at his golf course because he said Americans don't want to work there. So he bring in people and give them a green card. So it's kind of here. This is why we can't stand on a team. It's because the team keep changing. So if it's good enough for you to do, why can't the rest of us look at the same situation because he says they're the only ones that want to work. Okay, well that's
We've
a lot
done
of
that for a year.
Right. So my point is, if it works for him, why can't we do it for everybody? Why is it just good for him to be able to bring in people to work at his golf course, but we can't let people who are here working not be, deported or put into some little hole that they haven't treated correctly?
You can't do that for Americans who were born here. There's no way you can extricate Americans who were born here. Okay? The president can't come up until you get out of here. You don't belong here. Your birthright is where you will die. But
when he does that, all right. Let's use this as an example, all right. I'm a mother, which I'm use this as an example, all right.
Isn't that another part of that?
She's from she wasn't born here.
Yeah.
All right. She came over to the United States. She met somebody, or she didn't meet somebody. She had children. They are U.S. citizens now. Okay. But what's going on now is that they're picking up the mother and kicking her out. All right. So now, unfortunately, what's happening with these children? Okay, these children are going to strangers, orphanages. I mean, what kind of mindset? I can't even fathom what's going on in these people's minds.
All you have to do is go back to the Civil War and before that to look at what happened to the black population or what happened to the Irish population. They were absorbed within the population,
but they
did well.
But they weren't
Irish
kicked out.
Got scattered all over the country.
But they weren't kicked out like what's happening now.
Well, I'm talking about. You say, how will they survive when their families leave? The mom is sent back to the home site.
It didn't happen back then. Okay,
but they got mixed. They got for various
not like what's happening
now.
We
will deal with those kind of problems, and we will solve them.
When?
You're missing the point. The point is what's happening to these babies.
Right.
All right, these children.
We absorb the children.
Okay, when you say absorb, so the worst case scenarios are they go into the system, whether it's foster care or adoption. They're going into people's houses that are totally foreign to them, strangers to them. So now we have added some additional problems for these children. First of all, you're talking about a government subsidy, if you will, because these kids have to be taken care of, supported, what have you. Then, because of the trauma they've experienced behind being pulled away or having their parent pulled away from them, then you may have somebody who has got some psychological problems, mental health issues, may have some physical health problems as a result of that. So, in order to alleviate the problem, they've created 6 others or 7 others or a multitude of other problems. So again, Jackie speaks about planning, and I think that's the whole thing. We can't fly by the seat of our pants and deal with rhetoric, the things that got you into office by saying, we're going to make America great again, and we're going to
This was even before this philosophy. He's talking about
extravate all these people
30 years ago.
But the point still being, there has to be a systematic plan in order to make sure that it minimizes the trauma, it minimizes the cost, the burden, if you will, on everyone else that is going to, as you say, absorb.
We will absorb our population. Yeah. And things will get better. You've got to remember, 2050 from now, we'll be a whole different country.
Different will. It sure
we will be. Guys, you know the story.
Yes.
And many people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to see us talk about it here either. But we're going to become a...
That's why they want to send all these people back across the Rio
diversity.
Grande.
The diversity.
Because they're scared that it would be a level.
White folks are scared to death.
I don't know that.
Yes, they are.
That's why they. That's why they didn't. That's why they refused to. Back in the day, they didn't want black people to vote because they're afraid of the vote. White folks. Okay. So it's no different today than it was then in that sense.
Guys, one of the things I wished we would do on this show is get us so much away from race and build stuff, not tear it down. Show people how to build with our ingenuity and with the way we think. We're a different culture now. and we're striving for it. We got to figure out how to make the world safe for democracy, if that's a quote, or make America truly great with the inclusion of all of the people and the several cultural groups, making decisions for the country that makes sense.
But the way you do that is you have to listen to everybody that comes to the table.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You can't silence voices. And back to, this is not a racial thing, so this is a financial, so I'm going to a different side.
Okay.
Once again, because we have not planned properly with this, or the administration has not planned properly, just imagine all the costs that are mounting up. Once again, you have to maintain these facilities. You have to have staff for these facilities. You have to take care of these kids in foster care. What do you think that's doing to the budget? You know, everybody likes to cry about cost savings. This is not cost effective at all, because now you're taking a family that was stable or might have been stable, and you're putting them into the future of the federal government's budget. So now you have to put these kids in foster care. You got to pay for foster care. You got to pay for their needs. You have to pay for the parent to be extradited or whatever, wherever they're going, or deported. You have to pay for their facility. You have all these costs. I have not seen any documentation of these costs, because guess what it's going to do? It's going to come back and bite us. And it's going to say, we're so far out of the budget because we did not foresee all of these expenditures, because we don't plan. We just act and don't plan properly.
Yeah, but we have the expenditures out there anyway. Those expenditures are on us one way or the other.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
If these people are sustaining themselves, how is that something on you?
Okay, but they're taking jobs from other people.
We can't say that, because I know some people that's on the couch.
They got.
They're not trying to
get
work.
those people off the couch and put them in the field.
But you can't say they're taking jobs from them, because your president is going to get him and working at his golf course. I don't.
That.
No, that's the example. He said that's the truth. He's the example. Regardless if he want to be the leader in the classroom, he is. He's the leader.
And also too, him going to Mar-a-Lago, all right, flying down there in Air Force One, $1.5 million every trip he takes. He spent more money within this 100 days, all right, on airplane, fuel and security and so forth than Obama did in 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what message is that sending?
I don't have any statistics.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. But if we can go back to one of the things that we were discussing too, in relationship to sanctuary cities, I think that we have to think about, people who need to have that opportunity to have to be looked at on a case-by-case basis. But in the meantime, if these people are living in the so-called sanctuary city, the city should not be penalized. The government should not come in and say, we're going to take away your funding, your allocation, because you are harboring, quote unquote, these fugitives or undocumented workers. You're harboring them, so we're gonna make you pay. Now that's not good policy, and it's not making a lot of sense. People have to have what they need so that they can maintain their systems.
But the law is the law. Federal law supersedes that of state law. And if we have people in the country that the federal government says that are undocumented aliens or illegals or whatever, and we need to expunge those, then cities cannot say they put a sanctuary around them. That's a violation
Ann Arbor has done it, and Ann Arbor is not going to change their mind.
Hang on.
They told
cities
U.S. Attorney General Sessions to go jump in the lake, along with hundreds of other cities around the country.
I'm not talking about Sessions.
You're U.S. Attorney General.
But I'm talking about how we deal with the situation.
Martin Luther King said, an unjust law is an unjust law.
Many people have said that.
And I'm talking about, I don't care about many people, I'm talking about Martin Luther King, all right?
I apologize.
Unjust law is an unjust law,
yes,
all right?
I agree.
And in other words, fight an unjust law by any means necessary.
But you just can't have people in the country that's here and not documented, then come in legally. No country accepts.
And who's
legal
going to believe that wise tale about, well, you go back to your country, you know what I mean, and then
we can't go back to our country. This is our country. We were born here.
Yeah, I think he's speaking about more or less the
Right.
people
Let's
that
stay on
they deal
topic.
with today.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but again, you still have that whole issue about preparedness. And if you give people an opportunity first to be heard and find out what their circumstances are, why should a whole city be penalized for that? And don't tell me about the law being the law, because every law, there are ways in which you can get around it. Okay?
And there are consequences for breaking it.
Right, there are. But then you have to look at, as was said, is this law just, is it moral? I mean, there's a lot of rationale that has to be looked at, and I think that, like I said, we've got to stop talking from the emotional standpoint and start looking at it from a standpoint of, does this law make sense? Is it humane?
It was passed by the people.
No, the people didn't pass that.
No.
The people didn't pass that law.
Who did? The representatives of the people passed that law.
The
And
representatives didn't tell
once
the
you
people.
take that away from government, then you have nothing. You have chaos. Now,
That's what we have now.
The people
Yeah.
passed all of these laws, including those were passed by Obama.
The one that
They
they're
are still
exercising right now is
passing
an
law
executive
passed
order.
by the people.
No,
Yeah,
no.
you say passed by the people. The representatives went in and made deals, and they talked, and
This
then
is how
after
they do
it was
it.
done, then they presented it to the people. The people didn't even know what the heck
Right.
was going on.
Okay.
So
That was with Obamacare, right?
no.
No, that was
Well,
that was Trump care.
Well,
But
what did they
has
say
been a
about
great-
Obamacare?
This has been a great conversation, okay? But as I said before, I hope the longevity of Trump is not going to be much longer. I don't advocate no violence whatsoever, but there's powers that be in Washington that are going to get him out of office hopefully soon. This is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends saying, until next time, stay focused.